Sometimes it's what we wish for others that becomes the legacy of our own lives. And our next story is about just such a wish. It combines the love of sports with the joy of friendship, and in the end is a lasting testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Crystal Fullen of Houston, Texas, was born to play softball, and her parents, Tom and Diane, watched in astonishment as their daughter took to the diamond like a little pro.
I think her enthusiasm for the game is what people saw more than an athletic ability at the age of 6.
You know, it's like a guy told me from Dallas, he said, "You finally got a ball player."
By the age of 12, Crystal was already planning to attend college on a softball scholarship, and she wasn't going to let anything stand in the way of her dream, not even a small lump in her foot.
Crystal noticed the lump on her foot before it got to be a pain in her foot. She had an injury playing softball, and we had to take her into an orthopedic and have her knee looked at.
Okay, Crystal, your knee looks fine. I think it's gonna be okay, but I'm wondering, when did you break your foot?
I never broke my foot.
Oh, you didn't?
And she said, well, sure you have it, but it looked like it was healing well and everything looked fine.
But everything wasn't fine, and a year later, Crystal was having more and more difficulty walking.
So we just decided to go back and maybe we could just get it removed before it would cause her any more problems. So we were in the waiting room, and they said an hour, and 2 hours went by, and 2.5 hours, and we were, of course, getting a little anxious by this time.
Then the doctor comes out and he says, Mr. Fullen, I need to talk to you."
I'm afraid I've got some bad news for you. This thing in her foot is cancer.
Crystal was suffering from Ewing's sarcoma, a rare bone cancer that affects children and young adults.
I was just totally in shock. And I'm crying my eyes out, and I'm blaming God. Why would he do this to a kid that wouldn't hurt a fly, you know?
Crystal was immediately referred to Texas Children's Hospital and placed under the care of specialists, including Dr. Nancy Klein.
Ewing sarcoma is oftentimes very aggressive, and given the opportunity can spread throughout the body and through the bone marrow and sometimes into the lung.
While Crystal's cancer did not appear to have spread, her doctors recommended immediate and radical treatment.
We use a combination of chemotherapy and operation.
Will I be able to play softball anymore?
Probably not. After the chemotherapy, we would do an amputation below Crystal's left knee.
That was, I think, the most devastating news I'd ever had in my life. Of course, our only consideration is her recovery, and her one thought is, will I be able to play softball again? Within 10 days, Crystal was checked into the hospital for chemotherapy.
And that's where she was introduced to another patient, Valerie Wheeler.
Valerie, I want you to meet Crystal. She's one of our new patients, and I know that you guys have a lot in common.
Amazingly, Valerie was also a softball player and was also suffering from an advanced case of Ewing's sarcoma.
At the time Valerie was diagnosed with Ewing sarcoma, the disease had already spread from the bone in her lower right leg into the bone marrow. We knew that her chances for survival were less than 50%.
But even a year of debilitating chemotherapy could not dampen Valerie's spirits. It was a trait her mother, Jan Wheeler, had seen before.
Valerie's nickname when she was very little was Sunshine. She found ways to be happy in every circumstance in her life, and she really looked for the glimpses of sunshine even in the darkest of days.
From her very first chemotherapy session, Valerie had displayed remarkable courage for a young girl.
And I remember very vividly that trip home from the hospital. She said, "Mom, I don't know why this has happened to me, but Mama, I know one thing. Because of me, people are going to be changed." Parents are going to begin to look at their own children differently. They're going to wake up and see the sunshine and just be glad for another day. When I heard those words, I had to steady myself because I knew that I had been forever changed and that I would never look at my children the same way.
So, like, there's no possible way that you can get it. Are you serious?
A constant source of support, Valerie became a sort of mentor to Crystal.
I remember when Valerie told me about meeting Crystal at the hospital. She said, I don't want her to be afraid. I want her to know that everything's going to be okay.
I know that it helped Crystal quite a lot to have somebody to talk to that was going through the same
I'll come
thing.
back and see you a little later.
There was a special place in Crystal's heart for Valerie.
If Valerie wasn't there, I wouldn't have known what to expect. It would have all just been, like, new to me. She helped me get through losing my hair, not being able to go to school, not being able to play softball. Valerie definitely gave me strength. I knew that if she could do it, I could.
Hi, Crystal, I have a message for you.
Thank you.
And Valerie would give Crystal something more. She would plant the seed of a dream they'd share as a tribute to their faith and courage. Valerie had already endured months of chemotherapy, and her chances for survival were less than 50%. As she fought against her disease, she received a phone call from Terry Andropont of the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Make-A-Wish grants wishes to children with life-threatening illnesses. And one of the misconceptions about Make-A-Wish is people think sometimes that it's for dying children, and we're not. We're for fighting children.
Valerie chose season tickets to the Houston Rockets, and she was also given the chance to shoot baskets with Hakeem Olajuwon.
Going to the Rockets games was a way for Valerie to escape the treatment. I can remember times that we would take the chemotherapy pumps off, head over to the summit, watch a basketball game, then drive back to the hospital and hook the chemotherapy up again. They were that willing to work with us because they recognized that it's important to treat the whole child, to think about not only what's good for the body, but what's good for the soul.
The combination of wishes come true, aggressive medical treatment, and her own positive personality became the stuff of miracles.
For a year, she went through chemotherapy and radiation, and miraculously, at the end of the year, she was cancer-free.
And as Crystal's treatments progressed, she witnessed a miracle of her own.
What we want to do is we want to take this toe from there, clear down to this bone, and take that right out of your foot.
Okay.
And so you've got a foot left, but you probably figured out already that you only have 4 toes.
Right.
But so what? It's better than no foot.
Hi, this is Terry Andropont with the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Oh, hi. After the surgery, the Make-A-Wish people called, and they said that I could make a wish. And I told Valerie that I have no idea what to wish for, and she was like, let me think about it.
Hi, Crystal, I have a message for you.
Thank you.
She had written on a piece of paper, she has the perfect idea.
Valerie suggested that Crystal ask to be the Batgirl for the U.S. Olympic team.
And I was like, oh my goodness, I have to do this. I think that would be so cool, to get to go to the Olympics and hang out with them.
This is Mr. Porter with the International Softball Federation.
While Terry arranged for Crystal's wish to come true, Valerie learned that her cancer had returned.
The medicines that Valerie had used in her initial year of chemotherapy had obviously kept the cancer away, but had not cured her cancer. And we began to think about things not in terms of months and years, but in terms of how to make every day a great day.
Hi. Hi. How are you feeling?
Okay, I guess.
I brought your presents.
The last time I saw Valerie, she was not doing good at all. They didn't know how long she had. That was really hard to see, her going through all that and then it coming back.
Crystal was at softball practice in June of 1999 when she received news that Valerie had passed away.
Valerie spent the last 7 months of her life at home, surrounded by her family and friends, and ultimately she died very peacefully in our bedroom.
Valerie's life had ended, but the hope she'd inspired lived on. And within weeks of her death, the dream that she and Crystal shared came true.
You're going to Australia. I swear you're going to Australia, man.
When my dad told me, I was so excited, and I just remembered how the whole thing got started and how she would be so happy, that it was gonna come true.
I heard about it out at the softball field. I had gone out that day to see some of Valerie's friends play, and big burly Tom Fullen comes up and he says, "You won't believe it, Jan. Crystal's wish has come true." He says, "No, Valerie's wish has come true."
And that following summer at the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney, Australia, Crystal took her place as Batgirl for the U.S. women's softball team. One of the highlights for her was meeting team captain Dot Richardson.
Well, seeing Crystal for the first time in the Olympics, you could tell that she was living her dream. And for us to look at her, I just felt so much life and appreciation for every moment that she had. When she mentioned Valerie, she lit up quite a bit because I think she knew she was where she was because of that inspiration.
I was sitting there in the dugout and I was like, man, she would have been like so happy for me to be there. Everything was just perfect. I always knew like she was always there, like in the dugout, like watching over.
Today, the cancer that threatened Crystal's life has been in remission for 3 years, and the odds of it returning are very small. She is a walking, sliding miracle.
I really think that the whole thing has been a miracle. One, she had the cancer on her foot for 2 years. She had a successful operation and went through all the chemo. Had Valerie Wheeler there to tell her all the bad and the good things that are fixing to happen to her. To be able to go to Australia for the USA softball team, to be the bad girl, is a miracle to me itself.
And it would not have happened without the love and support of Valerie Wheeler.
Valerie's legacy is joy. Her legacy is hope, not only for the life that she led here, but the life forever. I think she's on a great adventure. And I think, in fact, I know that wherever she is, she's spreading joy and she's spreading hope.
Valerie Wheeler was an inspiration to everyone who met her, but perhaps most of all to her mother Jan and her good friend, Crystal Fullen. They join us now from Houston, Texas. Hello.
Hi, Richard. Hello from Texas.
Hi, Richard.
It's nice to meet you both. And I have to say, after watching your story, I can't help but feel that I'm meeting Valerie as well. Crystal, are you still involved in softball?
Yes, I'm back playing softball right now. I'm playing for my high school team. And I am also playing for a team called Texas Storm, which is a team that Valerie used to play for.
I can see how much that means to you both. And I also know you're working hard to keep Valerie's memory alive.
That's right, Richard. Embodying Valerie's indelible spirit, we've created a foundation entitled Project Joy and Hope. And what we hope to do is to provide resource development, program development, education, and community awareness that the needs of children at end of life are very special and different.
And how can our audience get involved?
We have a website called www.joyandhope.org, and you can log on and read about our organization and what we're doing to help these special children.
Well, I want to thank you both for joining us and for sharing your truly inspirational story.
Thank you.
Goodbye then.
Bye.
Bye.